So today we're going to talk about a historical horror that I read called The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. And from what I had heard about this book, it was kind of like a lot of mixed reviews about it, and I totally can see why, and we'll talk about it. It's a book that I definitely did enjoy, but it took me a while to get into it. It's a slow burn, like a very, very slow burn, and if you're reading it and you find it's a little hard to get into, wait until you meet the Catman. And then once you meet the Catman, and if that doesn't keep your interest, then okay, maybe it's not for you. It is a story that you feel like you have gone back in time and place, and you were listening to a very fantastical, paranormal, and strange story. It is about this man, Good Stab, who is not quite human anymore, I guess we'll say. So it also follows the story of this Lutheran pastor. He had kept a journal of these events, which he had put inside of a wall before he disappeared, and it's found all these years later. And at that exact moment that it was found, the supervisor of the guy who pulled it out of the wall was walking by. So if that guy wasn't walking by, who knows? That guy might have took the journal, sold it, whatever, and we might never have known this story. So instead, it ends up going to a university because the pages are all crumbly. They're scanning the pages and whatnot, and they find there is one living relative of this pastor by the name of Etsy Bocarn. And so Etsy starts to get these pages sent to her as they're being copied so that this history is not lost. And she starts to read the story and find out the story of Good Stab and her relative, this Pastor Bocarn. And it's quite the crazy story. And this focuses around a massacre that had occurred. So Good Stab comes to this pastor because he tells him that he has a confession that he would like to make, and wants to basically tell him his story. The pastor's like, I'm here of a willing heart to listen, and he starts telling his story over several weeks that he comes to visit him and gives his confession. He tells him about, he may not believe it at first, but eventually he will come to believe the story of his confession. As we go along, it starts with Good Stab being out with some of the members of his tribe. They have to go and they're going to cover up these, like, there's these burnt wagons that it kind of, someone made it staged to look like their tribe had done this. And so if someone else sees that, that gives them an excuse or whatever to go attack them. So they need to like clean this up so other people don't see it, this, that, and the other. So they go out to do that. And while they're there, pretty much everyone's dead except for they find there's this cage in one of the wagons, and there's this, what can only be described as this cat man. There's this white dude, and he's hissing and making feral noises. And so they try to kill him. They shoot him with an arrow, then they shoot him with a gun, and this thing won't die. And then they think it's like some white god or something. And eventually they come to realize it's not a god, it's something unnatural and something weird. But hold the phone. So Good Stab goes off. In the wagons too, there was like 9 beaver pelts. And he knows that you can trade those pelts to get a gun, and he wants a many shots gun, is what they call it. And so when he's out, I forget why he was even like kind of further away from everything, but he sees this beaver. And his people are not supposed to kill beavers because they are sacred to them, but he is being selfish and foolish and decides he needs one more pelt to have that even perfect number so he can trade it for a many shots gun. So he kills this beaver and thus starts his road to darkness. Because once that happens, he starts hearing shooting. And when he gets back to his buddies, there's soldiers there, and there's a lot more soldiers than them. And so all of his friends end up dying. And the one guy, before he dies, releases this cat man, and the cat man takes out almost all of these soldiers. And I think it comes down to like one last soldier standing. He gets like a big cannon, and the only reason the Catman didn't kill Good Stab is because the cannon blew the Catman in half. While the Catman's dying and Good Stab was also shot too, and he's dying, the blood from the Catman comes downhill and goes into Goodstab's mouth, and it kind of chokes him as he swallows it down. And then I don't know how much longer later he wakes up and he's not dead and he's something else. And now he has to drink the blood of humans to survive. He can also drink animal blood, but the thing is, the more he drinks of a certain animal, like if he just drank deer, he would start to turn into a deer and have antlers and stuff like that. So he has to kind of like stick with people. If he drinks too much of, is it that I may say this wrong, like they're called like the Napiquan, which is just white people, he starts to look like a white person, but he's torn because he doesn't want to, drink his own people. So you have this. But then you also have his rage at these Napiquan coming in and just killing all the buffalo, not using all of their meat and all their other parts, just killing them for their hides and just leaving them to rot. And then they put strychnine over the body. So if the Indian people come and try to take that meat, they die from eating it because these a-holes poisoned it. And it's like it just goes to waste. So he decides that he's going to kill all these people that have done this. And he starts kind of over the years taking them out. And then he also has a vendetta against the people that caused the massacre as well. And you get into this whole story and history. And it's really fascinating. If you like historical fiction and horror, because it's very gory, there's some very gross, gory parts. Stephen Graham Jones, if you've read, you know. It's different from his other books. I don't know how to explain, like, it's like you are sitting by a river and the river is telling you a story, but it's like a very slow and meandering tale with peaks of interest. And it may not be for everyone because it is very slow moving, but it's a really fascinating story. It's a very interesting twist on like the vampire tale as well. I really like that. There's a lot of elements that I really like to it. And it kept me in the pages. It took me a bit to read because I'd put it down and come back to it. So if you don't like slow moving, slow burn stories, I would probably not recommend it. If you are bothered by animal harm because these buffaloes are violently killed, that may be a trigger for you as well. So that is in there. There's a lot of graphic depictions. It's horror, you know. The ending is ending so weird. But I thought it was a pretty good ending. Oh yeah, so the pastor that heard this confession, he disappeared. And you don't really know what happened to him all those years ago after he heard this confession of Good Stab, or if he believed it, or what he believed about it. And then you find out like what happened to him. But I'm not gonna say that. You gotta read it to find out. Oh man. If you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.